Hey everyone, welcome back. For this one, we're actually going to be building a keyboard instrument using the Arduino. And we'll be creating something called a resistor ladder. That way we can limit the amount of inputs. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and click on Create New Circuit. And the first thing I'm going to do is rename this. So I'm going to rename this Project 7 Keyboard Instrument. And then we'll bust out our Arduino, rotate, and our breadboard, rotate. And we'll start with our main components. We'll need a piezo, this is our negative, so it's going to go to ground. Let's make sure and put this the correct way. You know what, I'm gonna put that there for now. And we'll need some momentary switches, which are called push button in here. Make sure that you put them. Make sure that you rotate them. And this one will go to line 14. I'm gonna copy and paste. You should have 4 in a row. Make sure that you have them connecting on both sides. Next, you'll need some resistors. Rotate them. And we're going to need a 220, a 10K, and 1 meg. Make sure that you do the capital M. This one's a milli, this is meg. And we'll just need 1 more. And this one's, the last one's going to be a 10K. Let's go ahead and put these correctly. So my 220 is going to connect on line 18. And it's actually going to go to our positive. Like so. Our first 10K is going to be on line 22. This last one on line 26. And this one will be connecting, I'm going to rotate it at this angle. Let's see if I can get this to connect correctly. I want to connect this to ground. So I'm going to connect it like that. Make sure that this is connecting to ground. That's all for my resistors. Next, we're going to connect our power. So 5 volts. Our ground. I'm going to move my piezo for now, and then I'm going to move it back to where it belongs. change this to black. And I'm gonna want my piezo grounded, so I'm gonna put a pin from here to here. This is black, and then I'm gonna have this connect there, but this is on line 8, so line 8 I'm going to connect that to pin 8 here. Change that to yellow, so that way our output will be coming into our input, our positive for our piezo, and then the negative will go to ground. Okay, so from there we want to get positive here to here. I'm going to change that to red. And then it's going to come in and then out of this terminal. So I'm going to connect this to over here. Red. And this one's going to connect to line 24, also red. And then 24 to 28, change that to red. And the last thing we need to do is have our signal output I'm going to leave that as green. Okay, so this looks a little bit cleaner than our previous ones. You can make use of that and make your wiring a little more cleaner. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and code this thing. So let's go to code, change from blocks to text, click continue. Let's delete this. Let's delete this. And we're going to have some variables. So I'm going to go to line 1. We're going to be introducing something called an array, and we're going to use that to hold the data for the notes. And these are going to be the actual note frequencies. So we'll do that by creating an integer. So an integer notes is going to be my array, and then we'll use our brackets, not those brackets, these brackets, equals, and then we're going to put some data points in there. So we'll start with that wavy bracket, 262, our first note, 294, second note, 330, and 349. Don't forget your semicolon. Okay, so we're done with our variables. Next we're going to do a serial.begin 9600 as usual. And then we're done with that. Next we'll do our main loop. We'll do another integer key val equals analog read, capital R. It's going to be getting that information from the analog input A0, and then we want to serial print that. I'm going to indent a bit. Serial.print line key val. So whatever information it gets from analog read, it's going to print that in the serial print. And then we're going to do some if statements so that we can get our tone out of our piezo. So First one's going to be if key val equals 1023. And if we have a analog input value of 1023, then it's going to create this tone. It's going to create tone 8. Notes. Now, if you remember our number up here, the first number in our array is 262. So what it's going to do is it's going to create that tone with that pitch. Now, in array, it works in 0 would be the first number, 1 will be the second number, 2 will be the third, and so on and so forth. So that's exactly how this one's going to work. Then we'll close our if statement. And we're going to add some more. Else if key val, and if this one is greater or equal to 990 and key val is less than or equal to 1010, then we're going to create tone 8, notes 1. Else if key val greater than or equal to 505 and key val is less than or equal to 515. Tone 8, notes 3, else no tone 8. And that closes it off. Looks like we're missing one. Forgot to put one in here, so else if key val greater than or equal to 5 key val less than or equal to 10 tone. Tone 8, notes 3, which is our fourth note. Close it. Okay, so now we have our 4 notes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. This looks like a mistake right here. I'm going to fix that. Note 0, note 1, note 2, and note 3. Make sure that it's all correct. Make sure there's no mistakes. I have semicolons where they're supposed to be. Hopefully there's no errors. I'm going to get rid of the space here. And just to explain what's happening, we have a bunch of if statements here, and the first thing we need to do is we're going to see if we get a value of 1023. If we do get that value, then it's going to give us this note, note 0, which is 262. Now, if we don't have that, it's going to check to see if the values between 990 and less than 1010. So if it's between those two, it's got to be between those two exactly. Then it's going to give this tone. And then the same thing for here. If it's between these two values, it's going to give this note. And if it's between these two values, it's going to be this note. Now we use the and because it's comparing. It has to be both. Okay? So let's go ahead and start simulation, see if we get any errors. We have an error here. Let me see what I did wrong. It says in function void loop here, error expected, parentheses before this. So I probably forgot to close something, which it's right. I closed this one. This is closed correctly. This is closed correctly. If key value, this is closed correctly. Right here. That's where my error is. All right, let me try it again. Excellent. I'm gonna go to my serial monitor first. And if I press this, look, I'm getting a value of 1023. If I press this, I'm getting a value of 1001. If I press this, I'm getting a value of 512. And this one a value of 10. Okay. So it looks like our keyboard is working as intended. So let's talk about exactly what's happening in this circuit. Okay, so first off, we have positive voltage. We have 5 volts coming into this line here, and then we have 5 volts coming into this. And when we push this button, we're gonna have electricity come through here, come to this, come into here, and then it's gonna go into this input. So we have no voltage drop at all. There's no resistor at all. It's the full amount of 5 volts. And what I could do, I'm going to stop simulation. I'm going to close my code. I'm going to go to my multimeter and I'm going to check my voltage. Okay, so I'm going to put my negative to ground. And I'm going to put my positive I really don't want to do that, but I don't have any other place to put it. So I want to just see what the voltage is doing. And then I'll bring out my serial monitor and look at the voltage. When I press this, I'm getting the full amount, pretty much, for the most part, 5 volts. It took a while to charge, actually. That's okay. And then when I press this one, I'm getting a lower voltage. Much lower. And then when I press this one, I'm getting half. And then this one, that's like a very small amount. We're talking about less than a volt, 49.5 millivolts. So that's exactly what's happening in here when you're pressing this. So the first one, like I said, the electricity is coming through. When you press this, it goes all the way to the end, and then we have full voltage coming in. When you press this one, the electricity comes through this resistor, which is 220 ohms, and then it's going to come through and then do the same stack routine to the end. And when I press this one, 10k ohms, it's going to come through here and then actually just go through this one and then come out here into our analog. And then this last one, I believe this one was 1 mega ohms, it says right there. That one, of course, is doing the same. And this last resistor is just a resistor to ground, just so that we can not have the full amount of electricity coming through this. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure and click that like button. Comment below if you found this video helpful. And make sure and subscribe, as I'll be pushing some more content related to Arduino very soon. I'll see you guys in the next one.